What does it mean to be great? Not merely good, not successful in the eyes of others, but truly great. In a world that constantly shifts its definitions of achievement and worth, the concept of greatness remains elusive, an ever-receding horizon. And yet, throughout history, humanity has been haunted by its pull, an irresistible call to rise above mediocrity, to leave a mark, to transcend the ordinary. Every civilization and every culture has grappled with this idea. In the East, the sages of ancient China spoke of the Tao, the Way, as the invisible path that connects all things. In the West, philosophers like Aristotle saw greatness as the cultivation of virtue, a life lived in alignment with one's highest potential. And in the esoteric traditions of alchemy, greatness was the transmutation of the self, the turning of base instincts into the pure gold of wisdom. But what do these ancient whispers mean to us, here and now, in a society driven by technology, competition, and an endless chase for external validation? To answer this question, we must first confront the illusions we've been taught to believe about greatness. The world often paints it as a collection of external validations, the awards that glitter, the titles that impress, and the applause that echoes through grand halls. But these are shallow reflections, mere flickers of light on the surface of a much deeper ocean. True greatness does not emerge from what you accumulate or achieve in the eyes of others. It is born from the alchemy of transformation that reshapes the very core of your being. Greatness begins not in moments of glory, but in the shadows of struggle. It is in the crucible of adversity that the seeds of transformation are planted, watered by the tears of hardship, and nourished by the fire of resilience. Adversity is not your enemy. It is the forge in which the raw metal of your potential is hammered into shape. Without struggle, without tension, there is no growth. Just as the alchemist relies on the heat of fire to transmute base metals into gold, life relies on the heat of challenges to awaken the dormant brilliance within us. Picture this: a seed buried deep in the soil, shrouded in darkness, seemingly trapped. Yet, within this darkness lies the promise of life. The seed doesn't resist the weight of the earth pressing down upon it. It pushes against it, using the very pressure as a catalyst for its transformation. Without that struggle, the seed would never sprout, never break through the surface to reach the light. In the same way, our adversities are not barriers but bridges that connect who we are to who we are meant to become. But there is a deeper mystery to this process, one that reveals itself when we look beyond the surface of hardship. Adversity isn't just a trial, it's a teacher. It strips away the superficial, forcing us to confront the essence of who we are. In moments of difficulty, we come face to face with our fears, our doubts, and the limitations we've placed upon ourselves. And it is precisely in this confrontation that transformation begins. The fire of adversity burns away the impurities of ego, leaving behind the pure gold of authenticity and strength. Yet, many resist this process. We've been conditioned to avoid discomfort, to seek the path of least resistance. But those who rise to greatness understand a profound truth. The path to transformation is not found in avoidance, but in engagement. It is by stepping into the fire, by embracing the struggle, that we unlock the doors to our potential. The struggle is not a punishment, it is an invitation, a sacred call to rise above, to evolve, to transform. When you stand in the crucible of adversity, you are standing at the threshold of greatness. This is the moment when the superficial falls away, and what remains is the unbreakable core of who you truly are. The question is, will you endure the fire? Will you let it transform you? Or will you shrink from it, clinging to the comfort of what is known? The choice is yours, but remember this: within every moment of struggle lies the seed of something extraordinary, waiting to be awakened. Think of the legends who shaped history. Not one of them walked an easy road. From the darkness of imprisonment, Nelson Mandela emerged as a symbol of resilience and hope, not because he sought power, but because he chose purpose. Leonardo da Vinci, whose genius spanned art, science, and invention, was consumed by relentless curiosity, often doubting his own worth and abilities. And Friedrich Nietzsche, the philosopher who proclaimed that greatness comes from embracing one's struggles, taught us that what does not kill me makes me stronger. These individuals remind us that greatness is forged in the fires of doubt, failure, and fear. But what separates them from the rest is their response to these trials. They didn't run from discomfort. They leaned into it, transforming pain into power, chaos into clarity. But how do we do this? How do we rise above the noise of daily life, the weight of expectations, and the fear of failure? The answer lies in embracing 3 timeless principles that weave through the philosophies of greatness like an unbroken thread: purpose, mastery, and transcendence. Yet, these principles are not steps to be checked off a list. They are interwoven, each feeding into the other, creating a cycle of continual growth. Purpose is the foundation, the bedrock upon which greatness stands. Without a purpose, life becomes a series of aimless pursuits, adrift through time without direction. But purpose doesn't come to us fully formed. It's not a revelation that strikes in a single moment. It's something we uncover through action, through trial and error, by listening to the quiet voice within that whispers of what truly matters. Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist who survived the horrors of Auschwitz, wrote that those who survived the unthinkable were often those who had a reason to live, a purpose that transcended their suffering. For Frankl, purpose was not about grand achievements, but about finding meaning, even in the smallest acts of love, kindness, and perseverance. Yet purpose alone is not enough. To walk the path of greatness, one must commit to mastery, the relentless pursuit of excellence in whatever field or endeavor calls to you. Mastery is not about perfection, it's about progress. It's about showing up day after day to do the work, even when it feels tedious, even when the results are invisible. The great pianist practices scales for hours, not because they are glamorous, but because they are the foundation of their art. The writer rewrites the same sentence 100 times, not for applause, but for the pursuit of truth. Mastery demands discipline, patience, and above all, humility. It asks us to become students of life, always learning, always refining, always growing. And then there is transcendence, the final thread in the tapestry of greatness. Transcendence is the moment when we rise above the limitations of the self, when our actions are no longer driven by ego, but by something greater. It's the artist who loses themselves in their craft, the leader who serves not for power, but for the good of others, the thinker who pushes the boundaries of human understanding, not for recognition, but for the love of truth. Transcendence is the realization that greatness is not about standing above others. It's about lifting others up. It's about contributing to something larger than ourselves, leaving the world a little better than we found it. But even as we embrace these principles, doubt will creep in. There will be days when the weight of the journey feels unbearable, when the call to mediocrity grows louder, when the flame of purpose flickers and dims. In these moments, remember this: greatness is not a destination, it's a practice. It's the choice to rise again and again, no matter how many times you fall. It's the quiet courage to keep moving forward, even when the path is unclear. And it's the faith that every step, no matter how small, brings you closer to the truth of who you are. Yet, as we reflect on these ideas, another question emerges. What is the role of failure in this journey? History tells us that failure is not the opposite of greatness, but its precursor. Failure strips away illusions, leaving only the raw, unpolished truth of who we are. Thomas Edison, whose experiments failed thousands of times before he invented the light bulb, famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." His story reminds us that failure is not the end. It's an invitation to begin again, wiser and stronger. Each failure sharpens our purpose, deepens our mastery, and humbles our ego, bringing us closer to transcendence. This philosophy of greatness is not confined to individuals. It echoes in communities, movements, and even entire civilizations. The Renaissance, with its explosion of art, science, and human achievement, was born from a rediscovery of ancient wisdom and a collective pursuit of excellence. The Civil Rights Movement, led by figures like Martin Luther King Jr., demonstrated that greatness is not about solitary effort, but about the power of unity and shared purpose. Even in today's fast-paced world, where distractions abound, we see glimpses of this greatness in those who dare to challenge the status quo, who innovate, who inspire. But there is one more layer to consider: the legacy of greatness. True greatness is not about monuments or accolades. It's about the impact we leave behind, the ripple effect of our actions on others. It's the teacher who ignites a love of learning in their students, the parent who raises a child to be kind and courageous, the stranger who offers a moment of compassion that changes someone's life. Greatness, at its core, is not about what we achieve, but about who we become and how we make others feel. And so, as we stand on the threshold of this philosophy, let us ask ourselves, what kind of greatness do we seek? Is it the fleeting greatness of applause and accolades? Or is it the eternal greatness of a life well lived, of a soul that dared to grow, of a heart that dared to love? The choice is ours, and the journey, though uncertain, is one worth taking. Because within each of us lies the potential for greatness, not as the world defines it, but as it is meant to be, a testament to the boundless power of the human spirit. This is the philosophy of greatness, a call to rise, to grow, to transcend. Will you answer it? If you resonated with this video and want to learn more about greatness and how anxiety can lead you there, make sure to click on the next video on your screen. Stay with me. What follows could change the way you see your own challenges forever.